Hi guys, Ready Set RC back again today, and today we have the final thoughts of the HPI RS4 Sport 3 Ken Block. This is by far one of the most detailed on-road shells I have seen in a long time. But in typical fashion, we're going to go through the electronics, drivetrain, handling and suspension, durability, workability, support, is it worth it, and would I buy it again? For this car, we've done modifications to it. It's still brushed, but we've made some changes to the links that are in here, to the servo that's in here, and I think that may be it. So let's first start off with electronics. The controller that you're going to get with it is going to be the HPI TF40. Tried and true, no issues with it. Actually has a lot of trims you can dial in on this. This is a great controller, guys. I have since switched over to my Futaba controller, but I had no problems with this. The range on this is pretty good. The only thing that I will say is that it does still have the antenna, but for the most part, it's a very good controller. No issues whatsoever, and I really do enjoy the foam wheel that it provides here. Very nice, very easy to grip on. Next, going on to the ESC and motor, and I'll say this for this car. For the ESC and the motor that you get into this vehicle, it is by far a lot of power for a brush car. I saw no problems with it, and that's kind of why I'm going to keep it brushed, because as of right now, I don't see any issues in regards to the speed that this provides and how I like to drive it. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and put a speed demon into it. I think, you know, I have other cars that I can do that to, but this one, I just like it the way it is, and it's going to remain brushed for me. Temperatures on the ESC and motor, no issues with them, guys. I run this on primarily 2S. I do not run this on anything more. I think the ESC states that it can be run on 3S, but I don't push it. I think 2S is more than enough for it. And I have not had any issues in regards to heat on this vehicle. Drivetrain. So the front and the rear are both metal. There are no issues that I've had with the drive shafts in here. I found them to handle the amount of power that I'm putting to them very well. I did not have a problem with them whatsoever. In regards to the center drive shaft, it's not exposed, but it is a steel drive shaft. Did not have any problems with it. As I said, this is brushed, so not a ton of power is going to it, but I did not find any issues with the drive shaft on the center drive shaft on this. Handling and suspension. This is where I have a problem with this car, guys. And this is why I first swapped out the servo on here, because I thought that was the issue. Swapped out the links, thinking that there was a little bit of slop. That did improve the handling on this, but there's still some concerns that I have with the handling on this vehicle. And that's probably one of the biggest knocks against it, is the handling gets a little squirrely on this. And now my next step is to see if it's the tires, see if that's possibly causing it. But it has improved with doing the servo swap out and the link swap out, and it has improved. I just want to get to the point where the handling is a little bit better than it is right now. The suspension wise, I thought it was dialed in perfectly. I did not have, I mean, it's an on-road, so there's not that much ground clearance on these, so I did not have an issue with handling. I did not have an issue with suspension for the most part. Durability, so as I said, guys, on my other on-road reviews, durability is not really a concern when it comes to on-road cars. I mean, unless you're going to smack it into the curb and see if it can handle it. For the most part, they're going to be durable. There's not really much to really be concerned about when it comes to durability on an on-road car. Workability, I found it very easy to work on this car. Everything's very clean, clear, and open. Now, this is not modular like the Traxxas Fortec 2.0, but it is very easy to get to a lot of things. and how to access this vehicle. As I said, I didn't really do too much to this car. I only replaced the plastic links on here, and I did some work in regards to the servo. Servo wasn't anything difficult to get to remove it, and to put a fresh one in. As of right now, I have a Savox servo in here, and I'll put all the parts in the video description. But, you know, for the work that I did to it, it wasn't hard to get to it. It wasn't hard to work on it. Very simple, very straightforward. Support. And this is where we're going to run into a problem with this. And you can take it as you want with this. That's the one thing that I'm going to say in regards to this vehicle that is a major concern, is support on this. Now, the RS4 Sport 3 is an older design, so it may not be too much trouble in getting aftermarket support. And even with the links that I bought for this, they weren't hard to find. But HPI on a whole has been very sketchy on getting parts and getting things directly from them, or finding distributors that are selling stuff. I think as of right now online, of course everyone does the eBay thing, but I think A-Main is the only one that I've actually seen parts directly for this vehicle on there, and even so it's limited as to what they have. So I'm going to say for part support as of right now with HPI, it's a little difficult in getting stuff for it. But as I said, this design, the RS4 Sport 3, is an older design and should not be able to find some third-party support for the vehicle. And now next, guys, let's go into the segment, is it worth it? At the time of when I bought this car, it was going for $299, let's say just $300 for it. After having this vehicle for quite some time now and driving it around, do I feel the $300 is a value? Yes, I do understand there's licensing and everything else that they have to pay for in regards to their vehicles, especially with the Ken Block Edition vehicle. There is licensing that they're going to have to pay to make it and do this kind of look and work to it. But do I think that $299, call it $300 is a value for this? And I have to say no, guys. For a brushed RC, at that price point is just way too much for what you're getting on this. Especially with the chassis design, I just do not feel that you're getting a value for it. And if you ask most guys out there, do they feel there's a value in this car, they'll probably say no. I've said it to people who have asked me in the past, you know, what are you getting for it? And I say, you're basically paying for a body and tires. That's where it all comes down to, is that at the end of the day, you're basically buying it for its shell and the wheels. The rest of it is an old design by HPI. Nothing new here. And do I feel that paying $299, $300 for it is a value at this price point? I have to say no, not at all. So that then leads us into the next segment, is would I buy this again? I'll definitely buy the shell and the wheels again. I think those two things I do find they just look so remarkably well, and I would try to find a chassis that I could put this on. But do I find that the RS4 Sport 3 is a value? And I have to say no, guys. I have to say that it's such an old design, and at this price point, it's not worth it. If you look at some other brushed on-road RCs, they're priced well below what this is going for. That means that all you're paying for at this point is the shell and the wheels on here, the licensing. And that's a lot of money to pay for licensing, if technically at this old design, I personally feel it should be well below what you're paying now. I think if this vehicle was priced more in the $250 range, that may be a little bit more of a value, even with this the Ken Block design, and hopefully with the sales of this vehicle that kind of drops the price down a little bit. But at $300, it's not worth it. It's not worth buying this vehicle for $300 because you're basically just paying for the shell and tires. So that's it, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram for our latest post to the channel. This is Ready Set RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.